Hi, ladies and gentlemen. As we come together to celebrate the International Women's Day, it is my great honor to welcome a remarkable individual who embodies the spirit of empowerment and advocacy, Benedicta Chukwuyem Apuamah. Benedicta is not only a Nigerian-trained pharmacist, but also a global health expert with a profound commitment to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. With over 5 years of program management experience, she has made significant contributions to projects supported by esteemed organizations such as the Global Funds and the CDC, demonstrating her dedication to improving health and well-being in communities. Her leadership journey includes serving as a One Champion, where she represented Nigeria and Africa at the One Youth Summit in Brussels. Amazing personnel, earning a standing ovation for her impactful presentation. As the chairperson of the Reproductive Health Caucus at the Tanzania International Model UN and a recognized delegate at the Global Engagement Summit in Chicago, Benedicta has continually showcased her exceptional skills and passion for advocacy. In 2023, she achieved the milestone by earning a master's degree in international health and social management with distinction, further enhancing her experience in SDG advocacy. One woman, only this one, same person. Her contributions extend to her role as the founder of the Girls for Development Goals Foundation, where she drives community health initiatives in Nigeria, and her current position as a project assistant at the Ulysses European University Alliance team in Austria. Today, we are more than privileged, a great honor to hear from Benedicta, who inspires us with her passion, her dedication, and resilience. Please join me in giving a very warm welcome to no one else but my dear friend, Benedicta Chukwuyem Apuamah, as she shares her insights and experience with us. Welcome, Benedicta. Please tell us about you after all of this plenty introduction.
Honestly, I'm wondering whether really it's not cliche, but I'm not wondering. Hey, let me wait to hear what she's going to read next. Is it really me?
From what you just said, it's easy for us to forget the things that we've done. So go ahead and tell us about you.
Well, my name is Benedicta, and yes, proudly Nigerian. And I think I'm just one ambitious girl trying to um, achieve the many big dreams in my mind, one at a time, and just trying to balance out all the many responsibilities I have now, and all of that. So that's basically who I am.
Okay, so tell us about your empowerment journey. Tell us from where you started from. How did you start having these dreams in your heart? Where did it stem from? I know you started all the way from Delta State, but tell us, so where did the dreams and the desire, where did it all come from?
Hmm. Well, I honestly, it's a good question because recently I've been asking myself, lots of those questions like, where did I learn all these things from? Where did I learn how to, dream dreams that are bigger than me, bigger than my pocket, bigger than my current location? So I think, I don't know, maybe I start from being in high school, being in an all-girls boarding school. We I know I have classmates, but maybe I took too personal the counseling sections and the pastors, the sessions we used to have every time on our assembly ground. I attended Our Ladies High School in Warri, Our Ladies High School. Shout out to any alumni watching right now. And we used to have pastors, come talk to us and tell us, you're great women, you're gonna be this, just focus on your academics, and study hard. The whole world will wait to hear you. So I grew up hearing those things, and it did really help me focus on my academics. And then I got into the university, eventually to study pharmacy. I know I used when they how they ask you questions like, oh, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? And even though I didn't have my hands on it, I used to always say, oh, I want to be a pharmacist with a difference. I want to be a different. I didn't know exactly what it was, but I know I wanted something outside of the box. And for me, I felt like I encountered that thing that made me think of this thing outside the box when I went for a conference in my final year in school. It was supposed to be like a church conference. It's the NFCPS conference, the pharmacists and pharmacy students in the National Fellowship of Christian Pharmacist Students. So I had served as the first female president in Delta State University, and usually every year they have the annual conference in one of the campuses in any of the campuses in Nigeria. And even after serving as president, during my tenure as president, I did not attend. I have very overprotective parents. Don't go there, don't go too far. And then I thought, wait, after studying 5 years, I'm in final year, even serving as president, and I will not go for any conference. And for this particular year, I was going to be in Enugu. And I thought, no, Enugu is not so far, from Delta. I think I should go. So I convinced my parents and I said, I'm going to be big-headed about this. It does not make sense that I said that, no, daddy, I must go, mommy, I must go. So I said, okay, you can go. So eventually I went, and away from, having the normal prayers and, Bible sections that we have, one pharmacist, I don't remember his name. I hope one day I'll bump into him again. One pharmacist just comes and begins to talk about this Mandela Washington Fellowship and the Yali Network. And apparently he was a Mandela Washington Fellow, and he was the only pharmacist there. They said there were doctors. Say pharmacists don't know about these things. You need to know, because we need more pharmacists, in those kind of places. And that's how I just listened, began to take courses from the Yali Network. I don't know if they still have those courses, but I took those courses that, help you identify problem in your community, help you start a change, where you are. And then I would go to secondary schools around. My mom at that time was the vice president of Obiarako Grammar School in Obiarako. And I said, Mom, please, can you talk to your principal? Let me come talk to some of your students about these things I'm learning. That's how I started. I was just going from school to school. And all of this led to me founding the Girls for Development Goals Foundation. So when I learned about the UNSCDs, I'm like, I'd like to work in this kind of place. What kind of people work here, and then, you need a master's degree. I wasn't sure I wanted a master's degree before, but, knowing about this thing. So the more I knew, the more I wanted to become, the more I learned about the space. And that's how it feels like when I get one thing, I think, oh, what's the next one after this for the next? I don't know if it's very healthy, because someone has told me, you need to stay and enjoy your victory first. I'm thinking, what's the next one?
Wow, that's so huge, Benedicta. I love what you said about attending the conference, and not just attending the conference, but doing some of the things you picked out during the conference. That is huge. A lot of people go to conferences and they just come back exactly the same way they went. Well, I've ticked up the box, conference attended, done. So what did you do with the information or the insight that you received? You took it a step further. You did something about it, and it stirred up that desire to want to reach out to other people. Can you tell us about your project, the Girls for Development Goals Foundation? I would really like for you to tell us about that foundation. What has it done over the couple of years? You've told us why you gave birth to it, and what's your desire and aspiration for it in the future?
Okay, so yeah, now that I've shared the background story, how I started and moving from school, and I had noticed that a lot of young girls, were getting pregnant, teenage pregnancies in my community, and I felt like these counsels, and conversations that those counselors and pastors and teachers were having with us in high school, because I attended a boarding school, that it helped me stay sane. So I thought, why not give the young girls in my community, the opportunity to have this kind of conversations, to kind of catch them young, go to their schools, talk to them, and possibly organize like I don't know if using the word conference to be the right word, but just having a gathering where they can freely ask those questions that they want to ask about the changes in their bodies without, judgmental eyes from their teachers, or friends. And that's how I started, honestly. I remember going around to people in my community that I respected to say, I want to do this. And they said, oh, that's an NGO. And I was like, what's an NGO? I just I just knew an NGO was non-governmental. So when they told me I had to go back home to go and read, okay, so what is this? And so I literally learned on the job. Our first, major campaign was a campaign against teenage pregnancy. And it happened in my church, Living Faith Church, Obiaraku. The pastor then, Pastor Abiola Israel, God bless you, sir, wherever you are, he allowed me use the church. He just said, okay, I need to buy the fuel for the generator, and all. And that's how I started. And there was someone who I had joined this platform of young change makers. They are called Power Innovators. And I've been on that group page for what, 8 years now.
What do you call it?
They're called Power in Numbers. That's just the name we gave us. So people from all over Africa and all over the world, young people who are just doing stuff. And then I met someone there who just literally guided me through the entire process of setting up this campaign and everything. And he just randomly sent me a link one day to apply for something. And it was the One Championship program in Nigeria. And I think that was the second year that one campaign got into Nigeria. Surprisingly, they selected me for just that one project I did. I thought, this thing I just thought I'm doing to help girls in my community. So people outside can recognize what I'm. It was really eye-opening, for me. It was like, the Eureka moment. I found something. And they sponsored my flight tickets to Abuja, put me in a fancy hotel, trained me, and then 6 months after, they said, oh, we have a conference in Brussels, and I'm among the people selected to go.
This
so
small, you big dream.
This small girl that's talking to young people in secondary school in Obiaraku is now going to Brussels because of what? So I thought, okay, so I had to now start building, what I was doing. And then eventually I thought, oh, why not get it registered? So we started with this campaign against teenage pregnancy. We had this February 14 love letter to myself, where instead of young people worrying about who will show me love at this age and getting into premarital sex, unprotected sex, and the sexually transmitted diseases and unwanted pregnancies, why not, show yourself some love, have some self-esteem. You don't need someone to love you to be someone. So we started with that, and then we even moved on to having a film show. This movie that Stephanie Linus Idahosa produced, Dry, a movie that speaks to teenage pregnancy and VVF, vesical vaginal fistula. So thankfully, a few days to the event, someone gave me her contact. I reached out to her and said, oh, this is what I'm doing. Can you come? Of course, it was short notice and we couldn't pay for her to come. She said, okay, Benedicta, I don't know if I can come. She retweeted and gave me her full blessing and permission to go ahead, with the movie. So we had this film show. So that's how we just continued building on projects till when someone mentioned our name to an organization that produces menstrual cups in Denmark. They donated 204 cups to us. So we've just been growing like that. Now we're fully registered. We have a board of directors. We have 2 interns and 2 unpaid staff. As for the next phase of the organization, which is what we're working on right now, we want to now begin to take on grants. Yes, we started with passion and we are still passionate about what we do, but we want to put more structure to what we do. But now we're applying for grants, we're restructuring, we have interns. We're going to put out a call soon for volunteers in thematic areas like M&E, monitoring evaluation, program, community engagement, and all of those. So we want to be able to take grants. If you're listening, try us out. You want to give that $5,000, $2,000, even if it's 1,000 for projects, we're here and we will execute the projects right on time with proper documentation. So that's where we are now.
Yes, so Benedict, this is actually these things you are doing shows how influential you're becoming in the circle of young people. What are the challenges that you have faced, that you've encountered, not just as a woman, but as someone actually building these NGOs? Because I know there'll be challenges here and there, and how are you able to overcome them? And apart from the grants that you spoke about, which could also be one of the challenges, what are the challenges you have faced just running these various organizations? Because for me, I think that is in different stages. And as you're growing, you are adding and putting a little bit here and there. What challenges did you face and how did you overcome them?
Honestly, there are so many challenges, and I would just try to share as much as I can remember and as time can permit me. Aside the funding, some people don't have very good notions of NGOs. They either think of it as either a money-making venture, or they feel like you're not trustworthy. So I would share some of the very early experiences I had. So there was one time this organization I had reached out to. We wanted to donate sanitary pads to girls, for one of our projects, and the organization reached out, said, yes, I love what you're doing. We want to support you, but I'm sorry, we've had a bad experience. We gave somebody so thousands or hundreds of thousands of pads, and the person just ran away with them. And so
How does somebody run away with pie?
like maybe they run away. Of course, they will want to sell it to make profit from it. So the bad experiences, people who have been there before, who have behaved badly, it's sort of robbed. So I said, thank you. I appreciate the fact that you're honest with me, but it's so sad that I have to pay. I remember the response I gave, I have to pay for the sins of someone that I don't even know. That is by the side. And a lot of people did not believe in it too, when we started out. And may I mention, I think it's worthy of mention that even though I barely got paid, I'm barely getting paid in cash for what I'm doing. Or for what I have been doing and still doing. I'm getting paid in kind, because the scholarship that brought me to Europe today, the scholarships I benefited, aside the work experience and the volunteer experience that I have, most of it is linked to the work that I did with that NGO.
So
when we were to get married, I remember my husband didn't have like a proper job then. I was just he was in between jobs. I was just an intern pharmacist, just rounding off my internship, because at the time we got married, and he was taking me to people who he respected and was saying, oh, we want to get married. Oh, my wife has an NGO. Yes, of course, like aside working, I'm going to be supporting. And I thought, I remember someone, we still remember what the person said. One of them is late, but the two of them said almost the same thing. Is it NGO you want to use to feed your family, to feed your wife? Do you have money? It's not people that have money that do NGO. So some people don't have very good notions about about this. So we've faced all kinds of challenges on the way, but here we are today and still building. And even, yes, for the structure, I had to learn most of those things on the job, and I am still learning. In fact, we just completed a training, my team and I, like like a clarity session, a coaching session just last week or so, 2 weeks ago, for someone to teach us, yes, you're passionate about this, you've done this, you've done that, but if you really want to receive the grant, touch this place properly, put this place in order, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I'm like, okay.
You're joking.
Plus my, I still have a normal job, that I do. I have a family with 2 small kids. So doing all that, like, sometimes I ask myself, like, who sent me? Who sent me?
You're the leader girl. You're the leader girl with big ambition. Yeah, you see, Benedicta, you actually touched on the cross of what the challenges were, and I love the way you're surmounting them. For me, you're taking it one day at a time and you're learning as you go. You're not waiting for all the ducks to be in a row to say, oh no, this has to be here, this has to be here for me to go. You're still forging on despite all of these challenges. And that's what I love about you. When I first spoke to you, what shone out or what stood out for me was your resilience, your determination to add value to other people. Yes, people would say, you don't even have money, you're doing NGO. How would you fund it? But you're not even looking at those aspects. You're more driven with how can I add value to my community? How can I add value to the people around me? How can I add value to everything that I see? And for me, that is so, so amazing. So what would be your advice to young women? How would you advise them for those who aspire to follow in your footsteps or pursue their dreams in the field where you are right now? How would you advise them? Because it's a lot. I've spoken to you over the last couple of days. You're working, you have toddlers, you have an NGO full-time. For me, that's if you have 3 full-time jobs put together at the same time. How would you advise young people who aspire to do what you're doing?
I would say, a few days ago, I was, like I said, this past days I've been having lots of reflection because sometimes I feel overwhelmed, both mentally and otherwise. I'm thinking, okay, why am I doing this? I've been asking myself, why question? And I remember one of the videos I made 4 years ago or so, and I was just saying in that video that, if you think, because where I am today was a dream and a prayer point some years ago, but then I was thinking, all of this work I'm doing, at least when I climb up to this other place, it will be better. But I'm realizing there's more work here, and then and I think I'm now learning to not expect that as I climb higher, that the work will get less. Like they say, to whom much is given, much is expected. But I would say also, dream high, dream high, dream large, just dream. So dream is free. So why not? Dream as big as you want to dream, but also be ready to take the steps, to achieving the dreams. Don't forget to prioritize yourself, your health, to stay healthy, to build yourself, because the knowledge that you have at this stage might not be enough for the next stage. So whatever opportunities you have, even if it's attending conferences or reading a book or attending clarity sessions like I just did, or coaching session, just keep doing it. Even if it's to listen to messages, watch something on YouTube, watch people. Whatever you need to do to keep building yourself till you get to that dream, keep building. Don't wait till you get to the table and then you're not prepared to handle the things that are on the table. That's what I would say. And keep shooting your shots. Don't wait till all the dots. When you were saying this, I was laughing because even though today is Sunday, I received an email. I received a rejection email, sort of, but well quoted with icing kind of rejection. When I was applying, when I read the requirements, read again, I saw I don't qualify for this thing. But yeah, there's no harm to try. It was a funding opportunity, but the funders want people who can cover 50% of what they're asking for, and they want people who have impacted directly tens of thousands or thousands of people of out of school children. So putting school children back in school, like in thousands. It's like, I've never had a grant. So how am I supposed to put 10,000 of children back in school? But I've helped do 5, 10, 10 directly, or 15 directly, and 20 indirectly, like that. So you can imagine how ambitious I am. I put it there and they say, funding, you have to cover 50% of what you're asking for. So I decided to ask for only 20,000 and say we'll put 10,000, we'll contribute 10%, which is $2,000, And then they say, well, sorry, you don't, but I tried anyways. I'm glad I tried. So don't wait till you have it off. Try anyways. So that's what I would say.
That's so beautiful. I love that try anyways. I love the part where you said you need to build yourself, not when you get to the table. So when preparedness meets opportunity, you know that the doors is going to be unlocked. But But if you're not prepared, when the opportunity comes, the door will be shut right at your face. And that will give you some form of discouragement. I love that so much. In fact, everyone who would listen to this, prepare yourself. You're aspiring to become something. Don't just sit back and say, you know what, I'm dreaming big. Benedicta has told us, dream big, but at the same time, prepare yourself. Walk the talk. Behave as though you're already there by imputing into yourself the knowledge required to make the opportunity, so that when the opportunity comes, you can walk into it boldly and say, yes, I can speak to this particular matter because, see, I've been preparing. Just I've not had the opportunity to actually bring it to fruition. Wow, that's so amazing. Now, can you tell us the importance of self-care and balance? Looking at you, you have 3 full-time jobs. What self-care practices do you partake in? What self-care practices do you find essential in your journey? Yes, it could be different for everyone, but for you particularly, how do you balance your personal, your professional, your work, and again, your own business as it were, your NGO? What self practices do you find essential in this journey?
I honestly don't feel qualified enough to respond to this question. I know it's funny, you know. Some weeks ago, I'm barely 6 months in my new job, and we had this team bonding exercise for the year, and we were asked to. So you randomly pick up a name, and they're asked to write something about the person. Apparently, the head of the department mistakenly picked. Well, I won't say mistakenly. They gave me my name. And what he wrote, I don't want to say I am I'm second guessing myself, but I thought they don't know the struggles, that I have. So he's saying, oh, you do this and you do that so well. You were able to move your family down in such a short time, found an apartment and you're able to read because it's not so easy to find an apartment here because we had to relocate it. And then you still come to work. That it speaks volume of your time management skills. And I'm like, I don't have it all figured exactly because I still struggle to wake up early. My husband has to sometimes, even when the alarm rings, some days I'm like, this alarm, that's a cup of tea. Some days I will even just turn it off, like leave me alone, I want to sleep. So I don't have it figured out honestly, but I just try to make efforts one day at a time. I just try. I can't claim to be great at exercising or eating so healthy, but at least I try. I try to sometimes eat salads and try to eat fruits. And I don't gym, but what I do is if I have the opportunity to walk, so maybe I'm to go to a place and instead of taking the bus, if it's 2 stops or 1 stop, and instead of waiting for the bus for 10 minutes, I decide to walk. So just those small efforts, really tiny efforts, I'm still trying to make them bigger. So I try to do that. And then I have a very supportive husband. I have a very supportive house. And I feel that makes all the difference. And in fact, thank God that we understand how we started, where we are, and where we are going, because we don't have the typical roles that the gender roles that society has created for what a wife should be and a mom should be. So at any point in time, depending on what the needs are, anybody can fill any role at any time. Some days I'm the one who's cooking everything. Other times he's the one cooking. Most times he's the one bathing the children. Other times I'm doing something else. So we just know how to help each other. We don't have it all figured out. That's true.
Yeah, but again, that's an amazing self-care practice, if you ask me. James Clear will talk about the 1% habit development. If you can walk for 10 minutes instead of taking the bus, that's a self-care practice. You might as well have said, I would wait for the bus in the cold, but you decide to walk. For me, that is awesome. And again, Benedicta, sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit for the things that we do. If your boss are reading those amazing things about you, it's because of what they've observed. I look at myself sometimes. Someone said to me, how are you able to pull forth 24 speakers out of 28 speakers in 1 month? You mean you were having speaking engagements every day? Do you know how many people have speaking engagement for the whole year? and see what you've done. And I looked at myself and I said, oh, I've not done enough. I have those things to do. I have this to do. What about the ones that you've done? Benedicta, if you ask me, I think you are doing above and beyond. You meet that criteria of above and beyond, especially with the way you put things into place, the structures you put. I know how it was for you to even have this meeting, how you have to squeeze time and have the kids are even in front of you right now, even talking to you. But again, you are still putting it together because you've made time for this and you've dedicated time for it. For me, that's an amazing self-care practice. And again, husband, if you are listening to us, God bless you. Thank you for your help and your support. We really, truly bigly appreciate you. Now, as we bring this section to a close, can you speak to women? A lot of times women feel the work is overwhelming. I cannot do it. There's this saying in Nigeria, I cannot come and kill myself. That is Benedicta. We're not asking people to be Benedicta. So can you speak to people and just tell them, how can you be your best where you are right now? And how can you dream and fuel your dream to become your full, so you can live your full potential? Miles Monroe would say, die empty. Don't go to the grave with your God-given potential. So just speak to the women as we bring this to a close, the young people who are coming behind us.
It's a very first of all, I need them to know that nothing, like we say, nothing good comes easy. So you want to dream, you want to do these things, you need to know it's not easy. But that should not stop you. Let me give an instance. So my husband, because I feel like somehow I don't know what God has told him or what God tells him about me and about where we're going, because sometimes he feels, oh, you think you're busy now. Wait, you think you're busy now, just wait. And honestly, so it felt like I had excuses. What I am doing now, if you had asked me 5 years ago, I would say it was impossible. In fact, I remember when I first started out, with the NGO, and there was nobody. I was doing everything by myself. Like, I mean, everything. I would go to talk to the schools. I remember the first project I had to write to 10 schools in my community, 10, 11 schools. I wrote by myself, printed out all the letters, went to all 10 schools by myself to convince them to come out. And then my mom would say, Benye, who's going to wash the dishes? Or who's going to cook? And I am just so tired, just laying on the bed. I feel like this woman doesn't even understand how my body's aching me. But 7, 8 years down the line, I am doing all of that and more, taking care of 2 small children, being a wife. So I did not know that I could do those things if I didn't try. So I would say, don't give yourself the excuses. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying break your back, but you never know what you can do until you try. Some years, I think I'll just end by saying this. Some years ago, and it's also something spoiler alert, I'm writing a mini book. After many years, I eventually decided to put down some of the experiences I have had and learned, just a small part of it. And while I was writing this chapter or paragraph, I remembered many years ago, I was invited by a friend of mine to come speak at an international women's event, something on technology at the University of Benin. Emanuela, thank you for inviting me. And while I was researching, it was the power of your mind. While I was researching for that speaking engagement, I found something very interesting about the power of the mind. That the mind, our mind, does not know the difference between what it thought about and what actually happened. So imagine I think like I'm thinking now that in a few years I can be the first United Nations female, first female United Nations Secretary General, and I can do this. My mind does not know that I have not become it. So to me, I feel like I'm just thinking, but my mind is thinking, oh, she's actually this. And that will begin to, fuel the kind of things you want to do, the desires. Oh, if I'm the first United Nations Secretary, then I should know how to do this. I should know how to do that. I should know how to do this properly. I should know. I am still learning on the job, but I'm saying dream big and try to put in the work one day at a time. Your mind has so much power. Take advantage of it. And of course, you cannot do all this without God. You need to know, you need to take God along, the journey. Walk with God, ask for direction, ask for help, ask for the gift of men. There are people that God have positioned and still positioning in my life. In fact, I'm sure she'll be watching this video. Someone, I'm gonna mention her name, is already telling me, international woman, because that's what she calls me. You wrote this and you wrote that. You need to learn to structure what you're sending out to people. To do this, you need people like that around you. And honestly, it's only God that can put those people there. And then you also need wisdom to recognize them. I have friends, one in my recently released YouTube video, who started telling me, you're a pharmacist every day. Before you make 3 sentences, I'm a pharmacist. Beyond being a pharmacist, what can you do? Ordinary write, you cannot write. You cannot write. See the kind of English you are speaking, but you came out with almost a first class in pharmacy. So you need to have friends who challenge you. The Bible says, he that walketh with the wise shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed. And we also need to know that God send people into it. Sometimes not everyone is meant to, so you also need to know not everyone is meant to stay in your life for so long. Some are for a short time, others are to be there for longer. Don't let offense get in the way. It's okay to not be so cool with someone, but except God expressly tells you, or it was a serious problem, don't completely burn the bridges. You never know.
Wow. Oh, as you're speaking to me, and I'm like, do I want this section to end, or I just want the section to continue? Because you have so much to speak about to young people and also just everyone, even just listening to you. I've learned so much from someone that is so young, that is so not ambitious, someone that's so full of dreams and aspirations. And you just spoke into the International Women's Day. If you ask me, this is what it is about. It's for women to understand it is possible. And I love what you said about put in the work one day at a time. Like put in the work daily. Don't give yourselves excuses. Before we started, I was sharing with you and I said, I didn't realize how tired I was until I woke up this morning. But I told myself, you know what, you still wake up and you still do the things that you put on your plate to do. There is no excuse. And I want to end with this. Stop giving yourself excuses. Yes, there are genuine times where you know that I am tired, rest. By all means, rest. But at other times, put excuses aside and become the best version of yourself. God has given us the gift of excellence, and we need to live it daily. He said, we're like the light that gets brighter and brighter until it's full day. Have you lived your full day yet? Are you living your best self yet? For me, in a nutshell, what I hear Benedicta telling us today is be the best version of yourself. Ditch the excuses, but guess how we can do it? One day at a time. Oh, with this, I want to say a very big thank you to Benedicta. It's been an honor and a privilege to hear you speak to me and to everyone who would listen to this. Even as we send it out, I'll also send it to you. Share with your friends and everyone, comment, like, and let people hear this. And if you want to reach out to Benedicta, by all means, we'll also put her details for us to reach out to her, because she's an amazing person. She even has a mentorship group. She just told us a little aspect of what she's doing. Benedicta, you are an inspiration. You are a force to be reckoned with, and your generation is waiting to see you live your best self yet. Thank you so much for being here today. And just the last word you want to say, though. Just the last one, just one sentence.
It's okay to have relaxing hobbies. I like to sleep. Call me lazy.
Yeah, not in any way lazy.
And I like to see movies. So sometimes it's okay to identify those things that help you relax, and while you take on the world, find things that help you relax and that you can also learn from. So get enough sleep, watch movies if you have to, but fulfill those dreams and get going.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, Benedicta. Again, I'm just going to re-echo our last word, fulfill those dreams. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day. Enjoy yourself. Bye.
Right.